Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. That place is ZipRecruiter.com/MIP. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invite them to apply to your job. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. With results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/MIP. That's ZipRecruiter.com/MIP. ZipRecruiter.com/MIP. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Folks, join us as we stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Make it plain. And also on Instagram. Administer with 2 T's. My guest is founder of She the People and president of Democracy and Color, a national leader and expert on political campaigns and media strategy. She was also involved in the New American Majority. Aimee Allison joins us now. Aimee, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now,
I'm so glad to be on the show.
So tell us all about, you got something pretty big coming up that I might need to crash.
I'm hoping you do.
Even though, I mean, it's for women, but I might crash it, y'all. The She the People Summit. Tell us all about that, if you would, Aimee.
You know, this 2018 is the year of women of color in politics.
Yes.
And it's more important than ever to elevate our political voice and our collective political power and vision. So I called the very first She the People Summit, the first summit to elevate women of color to the nation and tell a story to the country about the power of women of color as progressive voters, our wisdom and strategy that draws more people into the process and actually wins elections, and these fantastic leaders who are on the ballot in November. So the summit's the first of its kind, and it'll be in San Francisco on September 20th. I'm very excited about it because on the stage you're going to have OGs like Dolores Huerta and Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and movement leaders like Alicia Garza and I-Jim Poo, and also some of our leadership, such as Deb Haaland, who won her primary and would be the first Native woman in Congress from New Mexico. So it's a day-long and very historic gathering.
And this truly is, as you said, I think the year of women at least, but I think it's also, I think you're absolutely right, the year of women of color. Now, tell us more about what you want this summit to accomplish, if you would.
Well, you know, when you say it's a year of women, we have to be honest about which women. It's not a monolith. And in terms of progressive vision, those who are fighting hardest and most courageously, those who show up most consistently as the strongest progressives in the nation, that's women of color. Mm-hmm. Just as a reminder, 85% of married white women and 53% of all white women voted for Trump. And the thing to do is to say, look, women of color have been, particularly black women, for decades have been the strongest progressive voters in the nation and the backbone of the Democratic Party's vote, but haven't been acknowledged. And in fact, were just acknowledged after the special election in Alabama last year. You'll remember that it was the very high turnout of black women that won that state for the first time in 25 years. But no one's been talking about Latinas in Texas and Florida and Arizona, or Asian Americans in Georgia or Virginia or Southern California, or Native Americans in in traditionally red states that are running, or Arab American women who are running in states like Michigan and winning. And if you start to elevate the stories of the voters, the organizers, and the campaigns and candidates, you start to see something amazing happening across the country. So the goal for the She the People Summit is to tell, really, we're calling women of color fully into their fierce and loving collective leadership and power, but telling the nation this is the group of voters to follow. We knew what to do in 2016. We know what to do now. And we have a particular role in organizing and leading the new American majority, broader electoral, sort of multiracial, inclusive electoral group called the New American Majority. We have a particular role in leading this group forward and leading the country's politics forward.
And that is very, very important. And you're right. It's been women of color that have been standing up. And we've had some pretty impressive victories lately by women of color and women of different diverse backgrounds, haven't we? I mean, it looks like we might be sending, I think it may be 3 now. I know of 2 off the top of my head. 2 Muslim women of color to Congress. There may be 1 more. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Well, there's 2, and this is really significant. I mean, Rashida Tlaib, who ran for Conyers seat in Detroit, grew up. She's Palestinian, and parents are immigrants. Grew up in Detroit in a really multiracial, neighborhood, and became a state legislator, and then just knocked on doors and out organized. Same with Ilhan Omar, who just won her primary in Minnesota. So both of those women will be the first 2 Muslim women in Congress. Significantly, women of color as a group are the most likely to face challenges from other Democrats in the primary. And these women of color, by and large, including a significant number of congressional candidates that are black women, didn't receive the party money, endorsement, gatekeepers. They didn't receive support, and they have found their own path to leadership, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who took out in New York, who took out a 10-term Democrat,
right,
who was considered a little more, moderate. So in these blue districts where women of color are challenging establishment Democrats, kind of tired old moderates who aren't fighting for the community, and in red districts where they have a flip opportunity, they're finding coalitions and crafting multiracial coalitions strong enough to be successful on Election Day. So it is both impressive that the kind of candidates are standing up, but also equally impressive the strategy to victory. And it's a lesson that women of color have to teach to Democrats and the progressive movement everywhere.
But I think it's a long time coming. It's late coming, honestly, Aimee. That frankly, no Democratic candidate, and then frankly, no general election candidate who's really about the people can win without the overwhelming support of women of color. Everybody, even as late as recently as 2016, everybody didn't get that.
No, they didn't.
But I think people are finally getting that, and I think a lot of that has to do with what happened in Alabama with Roy Moore. It was a long time coming, but I hope folk finally get it now.
I do too. In 2016, the Democrats had so much hubris that they ignored the fact that half are people of color and 25% of the party are black people. And more than half of the black people are black women who are the strongest voters, strongest, most loyal Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot all that. They spent 75% of their over $1 billion war chest, campaign war chest, chasing moderate and conservative white voters.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats had a blindness that led them to make decisions in 2016 that had almost $0 for black voter engagement up to a month before the election. So in places like Michigan, where Clinton lost by 10,000 votes or so, there were 60,000 black voters who had voted the last 2 presidentials for President Obama that didn't turn out.
Mm-hmm.
So the Democrats had something just basically wrong. The people who were running their strategy did not understand a basic truth, which is that if you don't give people a reason to go to the polls, even if you have the numbers,
right,
you lose.
Yeah.
And I think the lesson here is our swing voters for Democrats are not red to blue. Women of color were never, most women of color did not think about Trump as a good candidate. It wasn't red to blue. It was non-voter to voter. And the Democrats need to invest fully and deeply into voter engagement to talk to and inspire and engage and, frankly, support candidates that reflect the communities of color. That's the strategy to win. And I hope you're right. I hope the Alabama lesson did teach them, but I'm not confident that they've invested the level of the money and the resources as of this point, 11 weeks out from the midterms, that they need to.
But yeah, and I don't understand it. I mean, I think that what I really meant was the public, but I don't understand why the party doesn't get it, why the financial apparatus doesn't get it, and obviously we're talking about the DCCC. I don't understand that.
Yeah, but the public even may not fully understand what happened in Alabama. I mean, you got a Doug Jones who was the fairly moderate white guy candidate running as a Democrat in a state, in a special election, in a state that had been run by the right wing for 25 years. And in his campaign, he didn't, there was a significant number of black voters, and we know black people are overwhelmingly Democrat, but his campaign did not necessarily reach out to and engage black voters, and they made some snafus and things. But there was a independent campaign led by black women, DeWanna Thompson and LaTosha Brown, two Southern brilliant heroes of voter engagement. They're the ones who went down there and organized the churches and the sororities and the community groups, in the rural areas, and they're the ones who delivered the victory for the Democrats. And it was a test case that could you have women from Alabama go down and engage voters, a fairly small percentage of the population, and win a statewide victory? And the answer is yes. So it wasn't the Democrats, right, great strategy. It was these independent organizers. I call her hidden figures. Never get any credit.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who deliver that victory in Alabama. But there are hidden figures in swing states all over the country that are doing a very similar Alabama strategy. I'm thinking particularly in Georgia, Florida, and Arizona. These are states Trump won, but we have an opportunity to take back.
SheThePeople.org to learn about the summit, folks. SheThePeople.org. And Aimee, is in everybody welcome to be a part of this?
Yeah, this is a summit that's open to elevating women of color's political voice and those who support women of color's leadership. It's going to be something, and we'll be live streaming it if you can't make it to San Francisco on the 20th. And very excited to hear what people think and to engage people in this movement.
Folks, learn more about it at SheThePeopleSummit.org. Get registered, become involved in it. Aimee, I heard a lot about you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Let's not make this the last time we speak to each other, okay?
Well, I agree, and thank you so much for having me on.
And like I said, I might figure something out. I might need to pop up out there. So we'll see.
San Francisco misses you.
Wonderful. Take care, Aimee. Take care. Enjoy your day. SheThePeople.org, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this morning on the radio. We're actually now off the radio. But you know what I want to do, Andrew? I'm gonna do something real quick. We got a bunch of calls on hold. I'm gonna stay on stream and take these calls. Can we do that? Just gonna do this real quick, and we don't have a lot of time, folks. But I'm gonna take these handful of calls that we have left to take, ladies and gentlemen. Why not that? Why don't we do that very, very quickly? Folks, check out SheThePeople.org. Jay's Indiana. Jay, God bless you. Good morning. Get woke and vote. Get ready for impeachment. Real quick for me. Go right ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Real quick. One of the callers talked about uneducated Trump voters. I'm living in Indiana. I'm here to tell you there are a lot of educated Trump voters, and they, I don't think we need to give them a pass because they'll vote for him again. I'm from this state.
But that proves they aren't educated.
Yeah, you're right. But when you think of a lot of people outside, think, well, these people were like, these poor people and all. No, these were born and bred, educated people who went to college, who own businesses.
Well, everybody who went to college ain't smart, and that still don't mean they're educated, Jay. You can go to college, you can be an educated fool.
Yeah, well, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I got friends outside of, in big cities, and they think of Trump voters as these poor underclass, low class. Like, no, I sit with people who are doctors and voted, and I'm amazed that they did. But I think they regret it.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
okay.
My mom told me one thing. They'll never say when they're wrong. They're not going to tell me, like, hey, we made a mistake. But they made a mistake. And the last thing is, my mother was at church, and this older gentleman came up to her and was just like, hey, I know you're glad Trump's in office because he's done so much for your people. And my mom was like taken aback. It was like, no, he hasn't. If you watch the news, and then he cuts her off and says, well, you're watching the wrong news. So that's, in Indiana, man, that's what we're dealing with.
Jay, thank you for your call, man, okay?
Yeah,
all right. Will's in Ohio. Will, God bless you. Good morning. Get woke and vote. Get ready for impeachment. Real quick for me.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, real quick isn't the reason why Democratic leadership doesn't address black women's issues, black women in the party, is because those issues would offend the donors of the Democratic Party, the big money? Prison reform, decriminalization of marijuana, access to education and health care.
That is a small part of it, but you know what I really think it is? Just like we were talking about earlier. It's a lack of self-confidence in our party and our issues. We listen too much to what the other side says. That's why everybody says, oh, we got to pull back from Nancy Pelosi. But that's not organic. That's not coming from within the party. That's coming from outside of the party, and people want. So we have to cut that out. The very nature of the constituencies that the party represents, and many of these in the base, we're all historically oppressed minorities, historically discriminated against, is a sort of internalized lack of self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-loathing. Internalized racism, internalized sexism, internalized xenophobia. That, to me, is if you could resolve that, doesn't matter what any donors say or do.
Yeah, but I go with what the Democratic leadership, the words they use on such things as, opportunity, not equality. They talk about opportunity, economic.
Well,
opportunity,
no. That's not the leadership. That's the third way that's trying to infiltrate. That's third way says opportunity Democrats. That's the new term they came up with a few weeks ago. But nobody else is saying that but them. And third way isn't really Democratic, but that's a whole nother thing. Third way isn't running the party. They're trying to. Now, if you want to talk about their donors and who they play footsie with, third way, they're the opportunity people. You're right about that. Thank you, Will. But no, the rest of the party, no. They're not going. Even if they're getting close to that, they can be stopped. We have to stand up and show our self-confidence in one another and in our party and in the constituencies we represent. That's why I push back so hard on that comment from David Hogg the other day. I mean, why would he say? I mean, David Hogg shouldn't be saying that about Nancy Pelosi. But he's young. He doesn't know any better, so he hears everybody else say, well, Nancy Pelosi's no good. Who started saying Nancy Pelosi was no good? The Republicans did. So now we bought into it. And now in the year of the woman, people talking about turning out the first woman speaker of the House in history. That's insane. I got to go, Will. Thank you. Lee's in Detroit. Lee, God bless you. Good morning. Get woke and vote. Get rid of impeachment. Go right ahead.
Hey, Mark. I think that what we're looking at, I mean, all things being equal, is that the white people in the Democratic Party still come from white neighborhoods and white families, right? I'm not saying that everybody's racist, but I think if we don't understand how racism works and the soft bigotry of white liberals that only spent $10,000 in Detroit, you're going to miss the point.
Yeah, you're right.
New leadership with new thinking. And if these people can't be educated, they need to be removed.
But we need to be clear on what the new leadership is, because I'm going to be honest with you, Lee.
Okay.
A lot of the up-and-coming progressive leadership, white progressive leadership, is still subtly racist itself, because they want to talk about class and not race. You have to talk about both. All right. And that's honestly what hurt Bernie, because what people were doing, not that Bernie was doing this, not Bernie, but what people were doing who were supporting Bernie were saying identity politics. We can't stop. See, identity politics is a racist term. It comes from the Republican Party, and this new white progressivism doesn't know, because it doesn't read. It didn't know that, so they just start repeating stuff that they hear other people say and think is legit. So whenever you see a so-called progressive saying identity politics, check them. So no, you don't realize what you're saying, and you're showing your own white liberal racism.
Yes. So
those of you who are not white racists, white liberal racists, need to tell these other white liberals, need to get them straight. So no. Because there's some of them saying now, so we just had a whole conversation about this being the year of the woman, the year of women of color. So I've heard some folk who are still so colonized in the mind, they're saying, well, Mark, we can only nominate a man. We need a white man to run against Donald Trump. You see? And some of these people are progressives. These are progressives. They're not even saying a white progressive woman. We need a white man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, the cancer at the core of American society is racism. And until we can remove that, and I think it starts with inside the Democratic Party, we have to educate our own people, and those people that can't be educated need to be removed, because if you don't understand how racism works in America, then everything else will just confuse you.
The only white man today that is qualified in terms of ideology to run and be nominated for president, who's surfaced so far, is Bernie Sanders.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm not saying
he should run him again.
Yeah, but hear me though. Bernie should run. But if a woman wins the nomination against Bernie, that's fine too. But to say that a woman should not be considered is wrong. I think they all should run. Bernie should run. Elizabeth Warren should run. Kamala Harris should run. Cory Booker should run. Those just a few. And there are others I know. Klobuchar, I think, is thinking about it. They should all run. And may the best woman or man, I think that's a good feeling. We don't need to destroy each other either. We need to have spirited debate on the issues, not on personal attacks, not on issues of character. And then may the best woman or man win, and then it's a wrap. But no, you're right, man. That's a good point.
What do you think about them attacking Maxine Waters when she came out against Donald Trump? Why didn't they support her? Here's an 80-year-old black woman standing up for civil rights and black people, and the Democratic Party starts to attack her. I don't get that.
Well, who in the party attacked her?
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer came out against her when she was going after Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of attitude, you know, that the Republicans don't have that. Republicans step in line, and
they were wrong. They were wrong not to defend Maxine. Don't get me wrong. The reason I hesitated is, and let me try to say this without saying too much, because I know too much about what happened.
Okay.
Let me give me a second. So, I just brought up Nancy and how some Democrats have jumped on the bandwagon of saying that she's got to go, right? And they do that reflexively because the Republicans, have been attacking her. So if Nancy feels that we and the rest of us, okay, we got it. If Nancy feels that we and other Democrats are not defending her, then she doesn't feel inspired to defend other Democrats. You follow what I'm saying? So right now, and it's only because it was put in front of me. I didn't know he said it. When David Hogg attacked her the other day, the young man from Parkland.
Yep.
How many Democrats have you heard come out and say, well, you shouldn't attack Nancy that way? So then Nancy might have reason to cause, well, I'm not going to defend nobody else when nobody defends me. I'm not justifying it. But that is the complexity that we're dealing with. That is the subtle internalized discrimination that we subject ourselves to. And also what causes division within our own party. So I just want to put that out there as another part of the complication. You follow what I'm saying? Lee, what happened to Lee? To Lee's call. Did you pot him down? Lee, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
This is enlightening.
Are you following what I'm saying? So it's a little more complicated than it looks.
Yeah, this is enlightening and it's powerful for me because now I can talk to it with an educated point of view.
Yeah. So we need to defend Nancy Pelosi, and we need to defend Maxine Waters. Yeah. That's the principal position. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I have time for one more call. Okay. What time? They got to come in here now? Yeah. All right. Adam, I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you, man. Can you call me tomorrow?
Yeah, I can call you tomorrow.
Give me one sentence. Go. Hurry, quick. One sentence.
Hey, just look. This crap with Trump saying that Cohen is flipping and that it should be illegal. Look, 2018, when the November elections come along, we're going to take the House back.
Blue wave.
The Senate.
Blue wave and a pink wave and a women's wave. You're right. Hey, man. Look, call me tomorrow. We'll talk more, okay?
Kamala Harris, I hope she takes
it. All right, man. Thank you, buddy.
All right, I can call you tomorrow.
All right, take care. If all minds are clear, it has been made plain.